Afternoon, everybody. I just had a bit of a technical problem, so hopefully things will work properly. Anyway, so welcome to the first of my hopefully weekly webinars that I'm going to be doing on Facebook Live to talk about some specific topics. Now, they're largely based on my experience of working with my clients, but I would love you guys to share with me some of the challenges that you have so that I can focus on that as well. A quick introduction for those who don't know me. My name is Rob DaCosta, and by day I am a business coach that works with service-based agencies to help them become more profitable and have an enjoyable journey while they're doing their business. I'm also working a lot online these days, hence the Facebook Live video and my mastermind group and so on. So today, one of the topics that I really want to talk about probably over the next few weeks is to do with value-based selling, because this is a big issue, one that I'm really passionate about, and it's something that I'm working with a lot of clients on. Now, over the last few weeks, I've had quite a few conversations with clients around their proposals, and I've been reading some of my clients' proposals to help them really improve them and take a value-based approach. So whilst value-based selling and pricing starts from the very first time you interact with a client, I actually want to go to the end of the process today and spend a little bit of time talking about getting your proposals right and taking a value-based sales approach. So what do I mean by value-based selling? Well, I'm going to give you a really simple example that's got nothing to do with most of what we do. And that is if we had really bad toothache, that we go to the dentist. In fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday who really did have toothache, so this is kind of a pertinent example. But if you had really bad toothache today and you had been kept awake all night long because you were in so much pain, and you managed to get an emergency appointment with your dentist this morning, then you sat in the dentist chair and 15 minutes later your pain has gone, and you walk up to the dentist reception and they say that will be £300 please, and you say, blimey, that's a lot of money for 15 minutes work. And they turn around to you and say, well, if we'd taken 3 hours to get rid of your pain, would have that been more valuable? And of course you say, no, it wouldn't, because you weren't buying the dentist's time. So this is a really good example of value-based selling. And when you think about it, anything we sell, we are basically helping a client get rid of their pain. So in this case, literally getting rid of their pain through the dentistry. But if you're a coach, then I'm helping a client become more profitable and helping them getting some of the pains around running their business. If I am selling a drill, then I am getting rid of the pain of trying to make a hole in the wall in a really simple, clean, quick way so that I can decorate my house. So it doesn't matter what we do, we are all getting rid of our clients' pains. And when we start thinking about the pains that we're solving or the transformation that we're creating for our clients, then we start to think about the value that we deliver, not the time that we're offering. So the dentistry example is a really good example of value-based selling. So the value I'm giving my client is, I'm in pain, I'm going to get rid of your pain. I'm not selling time to that client. And it's not a cost-based approach either, and I'll come back to those three types of selling in a bit. But I just wanted to give you that dentistry example because it's then something that I can refer back to later on in this webinar and indeed in future webinars as well. So the first thing you need to do if you're going to write a really successful proposal is really understand your client or your prospect. Now that kind of goes without saying, but my experience is that people, especially if they're in a place of scarcity, can get really excited about the opportunity to write a proposal for a client, but not really fully understanding what the client is. And therefore, if I don't understand the client, how can I understand the pain, and how can I talk about the transformation that I'm going to take them through in order to solve that pain? What I'll end up doing is talking about the world from my perspective and talking about the inputs of things that I'm going to do for them. But that isn't really solving the pain. That's like a dentist saying, well, actually, if you come and sit in my dentistry chair, I'm going to use these particular tools. I'm going to use this kind of anesthetic. I will put the anaesthetic in the upper part of your mouth, and by this point you're running a mile, because that's not what you're buying from the dentist. So the first thing we need to do is understand our clients. So I would encourage everybody, if you haven't already done this, to understand who your customer personas or your customer avatars are. Now, there's tons of stuff around the internet on this, so you can go and Google it if you're not sure about it, or drop me a message and I'll send you some templates that you can use to define your customer personas. But it's really important that we define them, because if we can understand who our customers are before we start even trying to engage with prospects, we will have some sense of what the particular daily challenges and pains they have and what kind of transformations they're interested in. So when it comes to writing a proposal, the first thing we need to do is really understand who our target customer is. That will give us a head start. Now, the next thing we need to do is make sure that we're not writing a proposal too early in the process. And this is something that I see a lot of people as I said earlier, getting excited about someone saying, okay, write me a proposal, but not really having qualified that client. So they'll go away, and let's face it, writing a proposal takes us a lot of time, because if we're going to write a proposal, we better try and do as good a job as we possibly can. So they go away and write the proposal. They don't really understand the client. They haven't really got a thorough brief from them about what their needs are. So they write this long proposal, they send it off to the client, and you know what? You never hear from them again. How many of you have been in a situation where a client said, okay, or a prospect said, get me a proposal and I need it by Friday. So you work really long hours, you get a proposal over to them, and then you don't hear from them again. And you're thinking, well, why did they need it so urgently? Now, if you write a proposal for somebody too early in the sales process, in the sales pipeline, then there's a really good chance that they actually don't really have a severe pain at that point. It's a bit like me saying, I'll go to the dentist and talk to them about having toothache, but I actually haven't got toothache at the moment. So I might sort of be interested in how they might go about solving it, but it isn't one of my key pains at the moment. So, you know, I'm not going to buy from them. So you have to make sure that in the sales funnel, you haven't started engaging with somebody too early. And what that means is that you need to come up with a set of questions that you must have answered by hook or by crook before you agree to write a proposal. And if the client won't answer those questions, then that's a good indication to you that they're actually not ready to buy from you, and they're just kind of interested in information gathering. So what are your 5 questions? And it doesn't have to be 5, it could be 3, it could be 10, but what are the questions that you have to have answered before you'll agree to write a proposal? And these are going to be things like timescales, budgets, what the need is, who's involved in the decision-making process, why is now the particular time that they're looking to buy this, and so on. And also, don't assume that I can just send an email to my client and they'll answer that question, because actually, you know, we're all different. Some people will answer it by email, but many won't. Some people will want you to go through it on the phone with them and ask them the specific questions. Other people, you might just have a conversation with them and get their questions answered. So realize that one size doesn't fit all, but nevertheless, by hook or by crook, I have to get those questions answered. Now, if I've been able to get a thorough brief from my client, then I'm now going to be in a good place to start writing my proposal. And one of the key mistakes I see in a lot of proposals is that they start off by saying, if we talk about my business, DaCosta Coaching, they start off by saying, DaCosta Coaching is really great. These are the kind of clients that we work with, and here's what I propose to do for you. But actually, that isn't really putting the customer at the center of your world, and that isn't really showing the customer that you really understand them. So number one thing we need to do is build empathy with the customer. If we've had a good brief, then we've had our questions answered, then the start of our proposal really should talk about, this is the current situation the client's in, these are the key things that they're struggling with that I think I can help you with. And then maybe taking a broader view of the marketplace. This is the kind of environment that you're operating in at the moment. It's very competitive. This is what some of your competitors are saying. Show the client that you've done your research, that you understand them, their challenge, and the marketplace that they're operating in. Because if you're building empathy by doing that, then they're going to be much more engaged with you to want to find out more. Whereas if you just launch straight into your proposed solution, there's no context for them. So they won't really understand your proposed solution, because if I've explained the challenges and the assumptions and the marketplace and the environment that they're working with, then I've given them some context to have when I'm proposing my solution. So that's my next tip. Start off by making it all about the client, showing that you understand them, their challenge, and the marketplace. Now, again, we need to make sure that we're talking about pains and problems and transformations that the client is interested in. Because as I said earlier, anything we sell, we are always solving a pain for a client. So Ian, I can see that you're on the video on this Facebook Live. So you produce video for clients. So what is it that they're trying to do? It's not that you're going to produce a 2-hour video. It's that you're going to produce a video that's going to really engage staff in an internal comms program and really help staff understand a complex problem. So we need to make sure that we're talking about the pain, the transformation we're creating for our clients, not just the specific thing that we can do, coaching or video production or web design or whatever it happens to be. So if we talk about pains, then we can then lead that into the value conversation, which is what I want to come onto. So once we've done that, we can start to outline our proposed solution for the client. And we need to make sure, again, that we're talking about benefits and not inputs. So it's the old, for the old people here, it's that features, advantages, benefits, a conversation that marketing's talked about for many years. Too many companies talk about the features of what they do, but they shouldn't do that. They should start with the benefits and then work backwards to talk about the advantages and then the features. So for example, if someone is proposing to do an SEO campaign, then they should be talking not about a quarterly audit of your website, but more about a review of your online presence to identify areas of improvement to create more engagement with your target market and to move you up the search engine rankings, because those are the challenges that the client has. So we shouldn't be talking about inputs and outputs. We should be talking about outcomes and value for the client. So I hope that makes sense. So when it comes to the pricing part of your proposal, and let's face it, we don't want to bury pricing deep in a proposal because clients, that's the piece that they really want to find out. So we want to put our pricing near the front of a proposal if possible. But when it comes to doing our pricing, we have 3 kind of options. So we have number 1 would be a cost-based pricing. So this is where we look at what something that's going to cost us in terms of time or in terms of actual cost for us, and then we're adding a markup onto that. That's a traditional kind of cost-based approach. The second-based approach we might take is a time-based approach, where we say this is how many hours we think it's going to take. We have a flat hourly rate in our agency of £100, so 10 hours at £100, is £1,000. Or we might have a range of prices depending on who is going to be working on the campaign for the client. And the problem about both of those things is they're kind of fixed margins and they don't give you much ability for coping when the client changes the brief or they ask, can you just do this? And we end up going into a massive over-servicing. And we feel we have to do that because we want to demonstrate value and deliver value to our clients, and we're scared that we might lose them. So we need to make sure that actually, we are selling value. So that brings me on to my third point, which is the value-based selling approach, which is obviously the value-based pricing approach rather, which is obviously the approach that I am recommending. And basically you're saying here is, what is it worth to the client to get rid of the pain? And of course, if we've identified the pain earlier on in the proposal, the client is completely empathizing with you. They're not really concerned about how long it's going to take. They care about you getting rid of their pain. Again, go back to the dentist. We don't care how long it's going to take the dentist. We care about getting rid of our pain. In fact, if they can do it quickly, all the better. No one's going to say, it took you 2 hours to get rid of my pain, so I'm going to pay you more than it took you 15 minutes in the dentist chair to get rid of my pain. In fact, in many cases, we're going to pay more to the person who could get rid of our pain quickly. So when we're talking about value selling, there is no concept of time really here. We're just talking about outcomes and values to the client and connecting it back to their brief. Now, at the end of the day, value is different things to different people. I have some friends who live up north who have just bought a new house for about £500,000 and it looks like a mansion. And I was just laughing with them because I'm down in Brighton, and if you were to buy a house like that in Brighton, it would cost 5 times as much. So why is that? It's to do with value. You know, people will pay for a house what they think it's worth, and that's all individual. Excuse me. And that's the same with your product or service as well. So, you know, if we're targeting the right kind of clients who aren't going to be quibbling about, you know, pounds and pence and time, then they're going to be willing to pay for the value. So that's why, again, we need to really understand who our target customer is and who our target customer persona is, and make sure our marketing is geared towards engaging with those people, because they're our target customer. When we try to sell to somebody who isn't our target customer, it's always much harder. They're much harder to manage. They don't really understand it. They quibble about pricing, and they are not our target customer. They might be sometimes the easy ones to win, but we need to focus on winning our ideal clients. And if we do that, then we can sell on this value. And typically, obviously, I'm going to say that when we take the value-based selling approach as opposed to time-based or cost-based, then the value price is going to be higher, and the client should be willing to sell it because we're talking about what we're going to deliver for that. When you think about an airline, you sit in an airplane, and someone who's paid an economy price ticket and someone might have paid a first class ticket. Now they're going to get to their destination at exactly the same time, but one's paying 5 times more than the other, and that's all about value. So again, it's, you know, we mustn't be thinking about how much time it's going to take with us. Now, of course, internally, you might need to build some Chinese walls and still work on time, because we need to make sure that we're profitable. We need to be measuring our staff's time. But externally, we want to talk about value. Now, when we're talking about pricing, I want to really encourage you to always give 3 prices. And I've just seen Ronan's joined us, and it's one of my clients that I spoke to about this yesterday. So we want to give 3 prices when we write a proposal. And the first price we're going to give is always the most expensive price. And it's going to be the bells and whistles, all singing, all dancing price. The second price is going to be the price that we probably want our client to pay. And the third price is going to be the lowest possible price that you would be willing to work for. Now, there's lots of psychology around this, but normally clients will go for the middle price. And if you look at lots of software services that you can buy online, you'll always see these 3 boxes with their pricing, and you'll see the middle one is highlighted normally, and it says this is our most popular service, and that's the one people will buy. And by giving that high price, we're giving a context. And by putting the low price in, people have this feeling of not getting as much value. So people will typically buy the mid price. So we want to work out how we can deliver the proposal with these 3 prices in. And when you might put like a checklist of things that are included for each of those services, what you really want to try and do with those checklists is talk about the outcomes rather than the specific features of what you're going to do. So think about how you might be able to do that. And put about outcomes to the client. Which of these outcomes do you want to buy? So, you know, if I was going to the dentist, it might be, okay, the lowest price is we can deliver pain release with no anesthetic and no aftercare. The mid price is that we deliver anesthetic and we will provide you with some aftercare, and the high price might be we'll deliver anesthetic, we'll do hygienist cleaning your teeth, and we can do tooth whitening as well whilst you're having the pain relief. That's probably a silly example, but it kind of shows you that we're you know, how we might be able to give those 3 prices. So again, there's loads of research done on this, and this isn't me being clever. It's just saying use the concept of 3 prices and make sure the mid price is what you want. I was reading somewhere recently, I have no idea how true this is, where a company took this approach and they quoted the top price was £1 million, the mid price was £500,000, and the low price was £100,000. And the client had originally given them a budget of around about £150,000, and ended up picking the mid price at £500,000. So I'm not suggesting that we all go and price like that, but it is an example of how the psychology can get people to really focus on the mid price. So I could go on and on about this subject. I really just wanted to focus today on the proposal part of your work. And I think the key messages I wanted to deliver to you is, first of all, don't write a proposal too early in the sales funnel. Make sure you've got your questions written first of all. Sorry, make sure you've got your questions answered first of all before you agree to write a proposal. And if you can't get a client to answer those questions, then it probably means that they're too early and they're not ready to buy. So move on to your next prospect. So make sure you understand your customers. So prior to doing any marketing or writing a proposal, make sure that you have created your customer avatars or your customer personas so that you already have a sense of what their pains are. When you start writing your proposal, start off by giving it some context, by talking about the client, their pain, the transformation they need, the marketplace that they're in, before you start talking about your proposed solution. And make sure your solution is all about outcomes and outputs and not about inputs and tactics, because that's not what the client's buying. And then when it comes to pricing, don't bury your pricing in your document. Put it really clearly and use this concept of 3 prices: the high price first, because that gives context, the mid price, and then the low price. I think if you do that, you're going to give yourself the best chance of creating proposals that are engaging, that people want to read, and that turn into clients. It might mean that you turn more proposals down than you're used to, but that's probably a good thing, because it means you can invest more time in the ideal kind of proposal. Now, there's lots more on value-based selling, and next week I'll talk some more about another area of value-based selling. But in the meantime, if you want to get my free ebook on the topic, then I'll put a link in the video after I've come offline, and you can download that for free, or drop me a message and I'd be really happy to help you. So I think that kind of wraps up this topic for today. I hope you found it useful. Please join me next week. I'll let you know when my next week's Facebook Live is going to be, and let me know of some topics that you'd like to cover, so that I can make sure that I'm not just addressing things from my perspective, but from your perspective. Okay, have a great week. Cheers for now.